Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now. Strawweight matchup, two contenders in the division. Xiaonan Yan and Tabatha Ricci, right? So you got Yan. She's just coming off a title loss.
Yeah.
Not even a title loss. She challenged for the title.
And then
she was
lost.
Unsuccessful against Zhang Weili, right? And
I mean, it was a competitive match.
To a certain point.
Yeah.
Right? Like, didn't she almost choke her out, like, at the end of the second round or something, or first round?
Well, no, Xiaonan almost... Well, I think she did go out in the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was right at the bell. So that, yeah. But then she dropped Weili in the first round. So there was some competitiveness.
Because on
there
the
was some
feet,
excitement.
On the feet,
yeah,
Yan is like, she's very effective,
yes,
right? And I knew ahead of that fight that she would give Weili some problems on the feet.
Yeah.
Even though Weili is a machine. Yan, she just, she got that speed, she got the front kick, like she's
got great boxing.
Yeah, so like I felt like that's where she would win the fight, and that's when Weili would switch it up and she'll go to the ground, and then she would dominate, and that's what basically happened.
That is,
And every time it got to the feet, Yan was doing pretty good against Weili, right?
Yeah.
So but yeah, like that fight tells you a lot about this fight coming up.
Yes,
I feel
100%.
Okay, so let's get into the tale of the tape, right? You got Yan, she's 35, so age is not on her side. Ricci, 29, most likely entering her prime. She's already had a bunch of fights in the UFC, so she's got the experience, and she's rising up the ranks. Both obviously 115 pounds. Yan, 4 inches taller.
Okay.
Which...
Yeah, Tabatha Ricci is pretty short.
Yeah, so 4 inches taller and a 2-inch reach advantage. We're gonna talk about the matchup, but let's go to let's talk about Yan and her recent campaign in the UFC. She is 8-3, which is a very good record.
Very good,
at the top of the top of the game.
And
right?
She's fought some high level girls.
Yeah, so if you look at let's just look at the last 2 years, 2023 and 2020. Let's start from 2022. So she started off 2022 with a split decision loss to Marina Rodriguez, which I feel like a lot of people thought she won that fight.
Yeah,
then
I think I
she
remember
hops
that.
back in later that year against Mackenzie Dern, beats her by decision, which was an interesting fight. Then after that, she returned in 2023, only fight in 2023 in May, and knocks out Jessica Andrade, which was pretty shocking to a lot of people, because Yan is not known as a knockout artist.
Right.
She's an effective striker, but she would win a lot of decisions. So if you look at her decision rate, she's got 9 decision wins, 8 knockouts, but a lot of her knockouts were in the beginning of her career
before
outside the
UFC, right?
Exactly, right? So she gets that knockout, earns herself a title shot, UFC 300 against Zhang Weili. China versus China. And we were talking about the fight earlier. She won a decision, 5 rounds. Weili, incredible fight though. I believe
it really was.
I believe that if they fought again, it'd be another incredible fight. I feel like they match up well.
Yeah.
And so anything to say about the last couple of fights? You know what I mean? She's like you said, she's fought the best of the best.
Yeah, I mean, she's done great for herself in the UFC. Her striking is phenomenal. I think obviously the only aspect that she needs to work on is her grappling. Something that's actually really cool about this fight, and I think you always say, like, you always think about mixed martial artists coming up in the UFC, and they want to get fights that are gonna... Obviously people want to get fights that they think that they can win, right? But I think also a part of martial arts is constantly improving yourself, right? And so one good aspect about this fight, because Tabatha Ricci is a grappler, right? And Xiaonan needs to work on her grappling. So, I mean, this is a great, I honestly think this is a great fight for her, because it allows her the opportunity to test herself against a grappler who is maybe not at a champion level, but it will test her. And, you know, if she is able to, you know, successfully defend takedowns, or even like get to the ground and defend herself on the ground, because I feel like she's good at takedown defense, which is what we saw in her previous fight. We saw that, but once it got to the ground, it was kind of like null.
Yeah.
Like, she was pretty much
Controlled.
getting controlled. Yeah. So if she can test herself in this fight, you know, that would obviously excite the audience as well, to see like, okay, maybe she has improved her grappling somewhat, and then the rematch can happen, you know, and we can maybe see even some improvement in Xiaonan's grappling and stuff like that. I just, the point I'm trying to make is, you know, while some people might think that this is like a bad fight for her because of the fact that her grappling is weak, she should take it as an opportunity to, you know, work on her grappling and see how it is in comparison to, you know, her last fight, and improve from there, and then get that rematch and hopefully, you know, be successful.
Okay, Ricci on the other side, she's 29 years old. She has a 6-2 record in the UFC. Reason why she's ranked top 15.
Yeah.
She debuted in 2021 at flyweight, actually, because it was short
really?
notice against Manon Fiorot, and she got knocked out in that fight. It's just two totally different weight classes.
Yeah.
Right? And Manon,
Yeah.
she's a beast.
Yes.
A lot of people think she'd probably end up being a champion soon.
Yeah, she's a big flyweight
Yeah.
too.
And then she returned that year in 2021, beat Maria Oliveira by decision. Then came back and beat Polyana Viana by decision. Jessica Penne submitted her in the second round, which that's like a grappler versus grappler. So, you know, it shows you that she's definitely high level.
Yeah.
She beat Jillian Robertson by decision. So her grappling is really good.
Yeah.
She's back-to-back Jessica Penne and Jillian Robinson she beat.
Yeah.
Right? And then
Yeah.
she lost a split decision to Lupe Godinez. And then came back, won a split decision against Tisha Torres.
Yeah.
And then she beat Angela Hill. Angela Hill always comes up for some reason. She's fought everybody.
Yeah, she really has.
And she fought Angela Hill this year. This is her third fight this year. She fought in May
Nice.
against Pennington, and then August against Hill, and now in November 23rd against Yan.
Very
And
cool.
every time the level is going up, right?
Yeah.
You know, going back to what you said about Xiaonan, right? When you look at her past performances against, because this is a striker versus grappler.
Yes.
Like, I know that they're mixed martial artists, but they have their strengths.
Yeah.
And Yan is a striker, Ricci is a grappler, right?
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
see it in their styles.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at two fights that are important, actually three fights that are important in Jan's recent resume is Carla Esparza fight,
Yeah.
Mackenzie Dern fight, and Zhang Weili fight. The reason why is all three of those fights, either they wanted to go to the ground or they did go to the ground.
Right.
Right? And then 2 out of the 3 of those fights, she's lost because she couldn't get back up.
Yeah.
Or she like the first one, Carla Esparza, like once she got to the ground, there was nothing that she could do. Right? Carla just controlled her and then eventually finished her. And it says a lot when Carla really doesn't finish anybody.
Yeah.
Right? But she finished her. Because I think it's more of like not taking damage, but she just couldn't get out of that position and she was just taking, you know, shots. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You gotta
Yeah. She
stop
just
the
didn't
fight.
have the knowledge to get out of the grappling exchange. Yeah.
Exactly. And she's like a wrestler.
Yeah.
Now you got Mackenzie Dern, who a lot of people thought was going to beat Jan because Dern would be able to get to the ground. And,
Right.
and one thing that Jan showed is her submission defense was much more improved.
Yeah.
She got in a tough position, got up to her feet, and then beat her by decision. That fight, Dern was trying to get it to the ground, but she just, you know, couldn't keep it on the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
And then the Wei Li fight, you see what Wei Li did. You know what I mean? Like, she survived, you know, the submission attempts and all that stuff, but she just couldn't get back up.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And when I look at that, and I look at Tabatha Ricci, right, and what she's done in the past, I see this fight going to the decision. Like, this fight is going to be, and it's only 3 rounds. Jan's been fighting 5 rounds for a long time. She still goes to decision in those fights.
Yeah.
I think this goes to decision, and basically, can Jan do what she did to Mackenzie Dern and stay out of submissions and stay off the ground against Ricci? If she's able to do that, then she wins the fight by decision. She pieces her up on the feet. And Ricci, she's done a little bit more of the striking.
Yeah, she's getting a little better. Yeah, and she has improved.
And one fight that she did a lot of striking and then she basically lost was the Godinez fight. Like, she struck a lot more. Godinez is like a wrestler boxer, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it wasn't easy to take her to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all depends on like who's able to get their opponent in their strength, right?
Yeah.
To their strength, their strong positions. It's a hard fight. I think, I don't know. Can she defend against Ricci? Is Ricci's grappling or wrestling strong enough?
The thing is I really want to see Xiaonan engage in the grappling. I don't want her to initiate, but I want to see her improvement in grappling, because if she just plays the game of striking and she wins by decision that way, it kind of sets us up to believe, okay, she will get the rematch, but it might go the same way. Whereas if we see a bit more grappling and we see Xiaonan actually getting out of grappling exchanges, right, or getting the better of those exchanges, then the rematch will be a bit more exciting, right? We can see that she's improved in these aspects, and then when the rematch does happen, okay, maybe there is a chance that she could, you know, become the champ, right? So I kind of do want to see that happen. But that being said, if she manages to just keep the distance and strike, she will win. I do think so. But yeah, I really want to see the grappling. I want to see her improvement, because I have seen her improve, you know. So I want her to test that in this fight.
Yeah, well, she's been at Alpha Male for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, she's done so many camps there. And
Yeah.
Alpha Male's a predominantly wrestling gym, right? Uri Faber is the head coach.
Yeah.
But
So
they're an MMA gym without
Yeah.
a doubt. But they have so many strong wrestlers.
Yes.
And Jan gets to work with those wrestlers, right?
Yeah.
And I do feel like she's improved, but like her being 35 and she doesn't have much time left. Let's just say
This
it.
is true. Yeah.
And this fight is very important for her because she needs to knock down the rising contender, the rising prospect, so to say.
Yeah.
And then the only way to do that is to be able to show an all-around fight, like
Yeah.
you're saying, like engage in the grappling if it does happen and show that you're improved in that.
Yeah.
So like the UFC is not hesitant to put you in another big fight
exactly
against a grappler that could be a contender or whatnot,
Yeah.
and you still get a good fight.
Yeah, they need to see that improvement too. Yeah.
I think if Jan can lure her into more striking exchanges, I think she could hurt her on the feet. Like,
Definitely.
I don't know if she's about to finish her, but I think she could hurt her on the feet.
I think so.
And like having that pro Chinese crowd as well is probably gonna be helpful.
Yeah.
For Jan, and Jan, she probably has a bad taste in her mouth from losing against Wei Li, especially with the belt on the line.
Yeah, she probably wants to show, how much she has improved in every aspect, right? This is mixed martial arts, so you gotta I'm sure she wants to, what's the word? Redeem herself,
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tabatha Ricci she's strong and resilient, but she is a small girl. Like, I do think when it comes to the striking exchanges, she is gonna probably get a little messed up.
Yeah, and she's I don't think she's as fast as Jan.
Yeah.
And Ricci, like you said, she's smaller. Would that affect the strength? Because she's a grappler.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. It all depends on when they lock up, right?
Yeah.
Like, because when you lock up, the height doesn't really matter anymore. especially if you're on the
Sometimes.
ground.
Yeah, if you're on the ground,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Like it's all about leverage, positioning, right?
Yeah.
And not taking as many risks, right? When you move around on the ground. But
Yeah.
if I'm gonna make a pick, I'm thinking Jan wins by decision. I think Jan is gonna go in there. I think her wrestling defense and grappling defense is good enough to stay where she's gonna have the the best opportunities to win the fight,
Yes.
especially with her striking.
Yeah.
And I think she's gonna be able to do that. I think like it's one of those Mackenzie Dern fights, right, where Mackenzie Dern was trying to get her to the ground,
yeah.
gets her to the ground, gets her into some hard positions, but Jan fights out of it, and wins the fight. I think that's what it is. 3-round decision for Jan. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, obviously, just like I said, I'd like to see some more grappling exchanges. And in an ideal world, I'd love to see Xiaonan win by like TKO or something, like reverse a position in grappling and in a grappling exchange and win in that way. But I see most likely a decision win as well.